Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Wednesday, and of course you know what that means. It is Spirit Wisdom Wednesday, where we gather together in the healing space and allow some beautiful spirit wisdom to flow through. If you are new to me, my name is Meredith and I'd love to welcome you here. I am a certified Reiki practitioner and shamanic practitioner. And what I love to do in my heart-centered business is help healers, givers, and go-getters reclaim their lives, receive healing, and continue down on their path towards their purpose, all in the way of the hummingbird, which involves lots of beauty, joy, lightness of being, and a big, brave heart. So thank you so much for joining me. And I also wanted to thank you for allowing me the grace of that extra 10 minutes, because we're going to get into this later, but my life is crazy right now. There's a lot going on. I can't remember the last time my life felt so busy. So what Spirit wanted to talk about today is clarity. And an interesting perspective they wanted to highlight is what to do when you finally feel like you have it, which I feel like is what I've been challenged to do here in the past week specifically. So the number one thing that they wanted to say is that when you have clarity, it is time to act. It's time to be brave. It's time to make decisions. So you could even write things down to yourself for later. You could even write yourself a letter. You could voice record things that are coming to you, because when you're feeling good and you're feeling clear, it is a great time to go ahead and plan ahead and even create art. Try to do as much as you can in a way that feels good, of course, because you can overextend that, which I'm being careful not to do myself. But Spirit was saying, we're helping you out. We know when there is a good time and a good headspace to get things done. So if we can feel that you're really clear, we may send some things your way. It might be a good time to get some appointments out of the way, or just some mundane activities that on a bad day or during a lower period of life might feel heavier. When you're feeling snappy and you're going to get things done, that's when Spirit will give you a lot to do, which they've showed me this week. It's just funny that they worked backwards and kind of broke it down why we're doing this. And it's all out of help and love for you, of course. And yeah, you're suddenly in this space where you can handle more volume than usual, because it doesn't feel heavy, like I'm getting stuck on every task. It's like I'm just flowing with the tasks and I don't even really stop to think about much. I'm just in it and I'm doing it, and it feels pretty good. So that's the number one thing they wanted to talk about. But I kind of pushed them. I'm like, I know people are going to want to know more about clarity, and specifically when we don't have it, because let's be realistic, we're not feeling clear all the time, right? So when you don't have it, they want to encourage us to ask for it. Not only to ask for it, but to remain open to receive it. So they're saying a good time to do that would be at night or right when you wake up in the morning, is to ask and then allow, actually take some time to be still and breathe. And this could be for somebody watching this, or just for what all of humanity is going through right now. But when you're not feeling well, they're saying mentally especially, and I can relate to this. I've gone through a lot of this in my life. It can feel difficult to meditate or to journal and do all that stuff. And they're saying that's not even really necessary. It's just a modality in which people clear their heads through. So if you're feeling so bad and you're like, girl, I can't even sit here and meditate right now. If you're just in a lot of emotional pain, if you're in a lot of mental turmoil, you just can't turn the brain off, anything to just stop is enough. And I didn't know they were going to bring this up, but they want me to talk about this self-limiting belief that I had challenged earlier this month. And that is, I have to be perfectly clear. I have to have a perfect day in order to be connected to Spirit. And they just blew that right out of the water. That is not true. And if you're anything like me, I'm kind of a perfectionist. I can be kind of particular. I want vibes to be a certain way before I do things. And they have pushed me, my spirit guides, to show me like the importance of maintaining yourself on a regular basis, of course, to make sure you're feeling well. But just because you're having an off day doesn't mean you can't connect with spirit. They're always there. They're always there. So just allow yourself some grace to take some extra time and make sure you feel good physically. That's another easy way to get in touch with this clarity space, or at least put in enough thought and intention to ask your spirit team, hey, I'm having a really hard time getting clear. Can you help me? And so, yes, taking care of the physical body, any type of quiet time, even if your mind starts to wander. I mean, that's part of being a human and having a brain in your head. So again, just treat yourself with some grace and love and patience, and just allow yourself to be, even if you just think about how upset you are the whole time. Hey, at least you sat there and allowed that to come through, which is one step closer to being clear. And then they're also saying stay hydrated. So I find that I'm helped with clarity. If I feel like I'm having trouble getting clear, anything that has to do with water typically helps. So they're saying you might want to check your sun, moon, and rising, your big three, to see what elements you are. I do think I have some water in there, or something that's compatible with water, because I swear when I take a bath or use Epsom salts in the shower, or even just stand by or in or near water, I feel better. I don't know what it is, but I just do. I just feel better. So again, they're saying check your sun, moon, and rising and see if you have a really strong element in there. Or they're bringing up how my sun is a fire sign. So that might be why water has such a calming effect on me, because it's the opposite of my tendencies. I'm like, yay, let's go, and like get some water in there to cool it down. So maybe look at your sun, because the ego is usually what won't shut up when we're having a hard time, and go for the element that's opposite of that. And that should help. So what an interesting message that's already coming through. So that is what Spirit wanted to talk about with clarity today. I have a feeling that more will come out in our week ahead readings. And, oh, they're also saying, no, there's one more thing, to clear the space physically helps, even if that means just tidying a little bit, because visual static needs to be cleared as well for you to feel clear within. So it could just be dusting, that's clearing things that are unnecessary. I feel like they're saying someone here would benefit from cleaning out their car with peace and love, not to call you out. They're just saying that. Someone's like, tell her to clean her car out and she'll feel better. But also just, purging and donating things that you no longer use can be really helpful as well. So that seems to be it, unless they chime in again about what Spirit wanted to talk about with clarity. I was in the eye doctor's office last week. You might notice I don't have my glasses on, but I got my eyes examined for the first time in a long time, because I didn't go because of the pandemic. And when I took these glasses off, these are my these are my regs. You can see this blue flare. So that is supposed to filter out blue light when you're looking at a computer. So I had a really computer heavy job at the time. It's supposed to be better for your eyes. But when I took those off, I realized it was changing the way I see colors, like all colors. And I paint, so that's a big deal to me. So I was like, oh my gosh, let me get contacts for now and change out the lenses in those, take off that layer. So that's something else they wanted to talk about, is maybe not realizing that a current perspective might be altered if it's something you're really familiar with. Like I was really familiar with these and didn't really think about it changing, like literally the way the sky looks. But it's like when you take them off, or when you rise to a new perspective, you suddenly realize, oh, that's not suitable for me anymore. Let me go ahead and change it. So again, in that clear energy, it's time to take action. Okay, so they seem to have a lot to say to somebody that's here. So let's go ahead and start with our week ahead readings. So as usual, and hey Lola, I just wanted to take a moment to stop and say hi to you. Thank you for making it here live. So let's take a moment and breathe in together. I'm sure you can tell I need a deep breath as well. So let's take a deep breath in. And an exhale out. Invite your spirit guides to come near you now and ask, please help me to choose the group that holds my message for the week ahead. You might hear, see, feel, or know that it's 1, 2, or 3. Or you might feel drawn to one of the objects that I'm about to show you. So for group number 1, we have the navy glasses. We love a theme on this channel. Group number 2, this is a navy tortoise shell pattern, and they're cat eye glasses. And for group number 3, we have the Trusty greens. This kind of cool sage green color. Okay, so let's get started with group number 1. If you chose the darkest frames, this will be your message for the week ahead. Today we are using the Light Seers Tarot. All right. So, group number 1 kind of feels like they might be, there's this feeling like I'm stuck in a rut or something, like I'm trying to mix things up, but it's like this kind of slower energy, like if you're trying to change up your routine or incorporate something new, it feels like there's this slow, sticky energy of like, it's just not working out, or I'm just not feeling it. So let's see what they are talking about here. For group number 1, Spirit, what do they need to know for the week ahead for the highest good of all? What are your messages for group number 1? They're also saying you might have an unexpected visitor this week that delivers a message to you. Okay, so for group number 1, we're going to start with the Chariot, and then the 6 of Wands, and the 6 of Pentacles. So the number 6 could be meaningful or significant to you. So the number 1 thing they're talking about is you celebrating yourself. Typically this card is about other people celebrating you. But they specifically said this is about you celebrating yourself, group number 1. So you might be someone who has a really super hard work ethic. You could be very particular and hard on yourself, is what they're saying. And they're also saying there's no need, this feels career related for group number 1, or something that you're passionate about. You might be an entrepreneur, but Spirit's saying you might feel the need to jump through some hoops right now, and you don't necessarily have to. So maybe someone gave you some kind of plan or assignment, like, okay, complete these 4 steps in this order. And Spirit's saying there's an opportunity to do something a little bit different, and in a way that is your own, that will allow you to own the project or own the business, but also a way that will be very victorious. And other people are going to see that. Oh no, they're also talking about feeling split or pulled in 2 different directions. So that could have to do with that project or work or career opportunity that we were just talking about, but it could have to do with something else as well. It feels like there's a fork in the road, and like I'm at the fork and I'm still not sure. It's like I assured myself when I get to this point, I'll know what to do, or I'll be able to figure it out. And it's like I've arrived and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. That's what it feels like. And they're saying they're going to give us some guidance about that. But before we move on to the guidance cards, I did want to acknowledge this Six of Pentacles. So this is a great time to give and receive. So this usually depicts a person giving money to someone who is below them and they're catching it. So in the week ahead, somebody could offer you a raise or a reward of some kind, some way to recognize you, or just a small gift. Someone could bring you coffee in the morning or something like that that's unexpected. It's Spirit saying, when you receive that, you'll know, oh, this is what Meredith and Spirit were talking about. Let's keep this going. So they're saying, do your best to pay it forward. So it's like, I don't know why they want me to talk about coffee. Maybe you're a coffee drinker like I am. But it's like, if you're sitting in line at Dunkin' or Starbucks or some kind of local coffee shop and someone buys for you, like the person in front of you covers your coffee, if you can, Spirit's saying, we'd love you to cover the coffee behind you. Or even be the person who starts that trend, because it can really go on for a long time. I remember one time I was part of one and they said, you're number 41. And I was like, what do you mean? 41 what? Maybe 41 means something to you, group number 1. But they were like, you're the 41st person to buy the person behind you's order. So they're saying you could have an opportunity to start a beautiful cycle like that this week, which is so sweet. Okay, so which one, group number 1? I'm looking at these guidance decks and I'm feeling like we'll do the Shamanic Oracle for you. And if you're familiar with me, you know I say every time these cards are real. They're heavy hitters, so we do one at a time. Unless Spirit throws like 2 out of the deck very blatantly. We only do one of these at a time. I also feel like that's another message for group number 1 as far as that that process we were talking about. Remember with the steps, it's the very first card. It has to do with this, with like completing a task or a project. If you're going down a to-do list and think, I have to do this in a certain order, they're saying, first of all, you don't have to do it in that order if that feels overwhelming for some reason. And also take it one step at a time. I personally have a hard time with that. I tend to think of everything all at once. So let's see for group number 1, what's their guidance card from the Shamanic Oracle? Upper World, Future. So this could be indicative of worry. It could be indicative of feeling anxious. This also makes me feel, because we have the Chariot here, that, oh, but I don't want to pressure you. Okay, they're saying it's okay to say it like this. Because I feel like you're someone who already pressures themselves a lot, but I feel like your decisions today are sculpting your future. And I think you might really be hyper aware of that, and that is why it's kind of freaking you out. That's why you're stopped at the fork in the road and you're like, oh man, I thought I'd know, but I don't, I'm not sure. And I know whatever decision I make is going to be lasting and like a big deal. So I also have this feather deck with me, and I think I'm feeling like there's a message in here for you as well. Okay, what else do we have for group number 1 this week, Spirit? Okay, here's what the feather looks like. And the bird is a nuthatch. I love these. Stay grounded and welcome the new knowledge and perspective coming to you. Okay. Let's see. Stay grounded. Okay. So the guidance has to do with physical movement and also mental and emotional movement. So if you're not someone that's physically running errands and going, you could be someone who has to think about and deal with a lot of different things all at the same time. And the Chariot energy is really fast moving, but it can often feel divided. It can feel like you're pulled in two different directions. So even though your Chariot is like plummeting forward, going super fast, you may not know exactly where the next turn is going to be. So Spirit is saying to do some grounding exercises and hurry slowly is what they're saying. And that's a Zen saying, is to hurry slowly. So they're reassuring you, you can still take care of all of your tasks, but you can do it at a different pace that's more healthy for you. And this is a side note, you might be experiencing some foot problems, some pain in the foot and the ankle. So I feel like taking some strolls, some walks, maybe in the morning, early morning or evening, as the sun is rising or setting, could be really helpful for you to ground. Also, standing barefoot on earth can help as well. If you can't get to a patch of grass or dirt, you can always stand on concrete, but just a way to connect with Mother Earth, because they really want to help you ground this kind of crazy energy that I'm feeling, that I'm picking up. And I might be in group number 1. I usually don't receive these readings, but some of the things are kind of lining up for me as well, that Spirit is saying. So let's get your takeaway phrase. This feels like it's been kind of a bigger reading for group number 1. So let's sum this up with the phrase, Spirit. What would be good for them to know? It's a harmonica. And if you're watching this live, I know this is mirrored. It says change your tune. So there's a couple different things about perspective here. And it feels like shifting into a perspective of gratitude. You might be sitting there saying, I know I'm grateful, but it's more about like outward gratitude in the physical realm. So literally buying somebody's $5 coffee, or it could even be putting something away for somebody, just something to make someone's daily tasks a little bit easier to get that cycle going. So, woo! Those were your messages, group number 1, and I feel like your guides really want to talk to you. So make sure to pencil them in because they had a lot to say. So those were your messages. If you chose the dark frames here, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay, so for group number 2, if you chose these tortoise shell kind of cat eye shaped glasses, this will be your week ahead reading. Messages for the week ahead from Spirit. What do we need to know for group number 2 for their highest good? What do we need to hear right now? It just got really quiet. I feel like maybe you're seeking out some quiet time or a quiet space. And it feels like you've gotten it. So maybe you moved to a quieter location. You could even find yourself tempted to do things in your car, like take calls in your car. If your house is really loud, maybe you have some rambunctious kiddos or rambunctious animals where you live. But I'm feeling that need to like take sanctuary somewhere that's quiet. Let's see if that works into the other cards that we have here. Okay, so we have the 2 of Wands for group number 2, the Empress, and King of Cups. All right, let's see here. So they're highlighting a relationship in your life with a divine masculine. So even if this person isn't masculine in their physical form, this is someone who would have masculine energy, someone who's pretty upfront, but this is a King of Cups. And the way I love to describe this person is very emotionally intelligent. This is someone who is intuitive and understanding and patient. This is someone who is like born a leader but doesn't crave it. Does that make sense? So it's not like a fire sign. This is not like a King of Wands, someone who wants to be the boss, someone who wants to blaze a trail. This is someone who other people ask to lead. Can you lead this? Can you take this on? Because this person is gains a lot of perspective, or a lot of respect when they are in balance with everyone around them. And I'm seeing you here as the divine feminine. The Empress is, you can think of her as like all the queens combined. So this is like your sacred feminine energy is what we're talking about with. And this King of Cups character. Are you planning a relationship? It feels like you are. Because we have this card that talks about planning. And it's wands, so it's like a fiery, passionate energy. And it feels like you might be dreaming of who your King of Cups might be. You could be feeling like a relationship is coming, or someone new is coming into your life and you just don't know who they are yet. But it feels like I'm preparing myself to meet this person that I don't even know yet. Interesting. Okay. How many people does that apply to? Okay, so Spirit's saying that's 70% of you who chose group number 2. You're in the romantic relationship section where you're thinking about your King of Cups and what he might be like. Let's just get some guidance cards because that's a lot to unpack. Let's see what direction they're taking this in. Okay. So for group number 2, and what does this have to do with the week ahead? Someone must really be thinking about this for them to bring it up in the middle of a week ahead reading. Okay, what else do we have going on for group number 2, Spirit? What kind of guidance can we offer them for the week ahead? Okay. Prayer, hope. Yes, okay, some of you who picked this group are literally like praying for a partner, praying for, or praying for completion. So if you feel more feminine, and again, this has nothing to do with like physical gender or anything like that. It's just like a feeling. Do you feel more comfortable with your feminine energy within you or your masculine energy? From the cards I'm seeing, they're talking about you feeling more connected to the feminine, and this could be an invitation to connect with your masculine, but in a way that's not outside of yourself. And I feel like maybe that's not what you wanted to hear. Maybe you did want to hear about this wonderful masculine person that's coming, that some of you may have been praying for, hoping for, or even straight up planning for, girl, which I've done that before, I understand. But Spirit's saying, we can balance the yin and yang within you without that other person. And that will make being with that other person all the more enjoyable. Okay, so they are referencing someone on the way, and I feel like your guides are helping prepare you for it. Like the more balanced you feel within yourself, the more you will be able to embrace each other as separate people. So let's see what feather messengers we have. They also want to say generally that they're hearing your prayers. It feels like there's a ritual that you might do. You might pray every night or pray every morning or write a gratitude list. And your spirit guides want you to know that Spirit's hearing that. The universe is hearing that. And it really is positively impacting everything around you. It's like a ripple effect, like in this photo or this image. These rings. It's like the layers of people you can affect by putting out positive energy and praying like that is really beautiful. Okay. So let's see what else we have for group number 2. Ooh, I don't see this one very often. This is White Eagle. The connection to the divine guidance is within you, y'all. Oh my gosh. Your crown chakra is lit up right now, I have to say. It feels like everything up here is really lit up. So if your third eye and crown are really lit up, you could be having really vivid dreams, really vivid waking dreams or daydreams. Or you could be experiencing like crazy synchronicities. Like you might turn on the radio right after you were talking to yourself or your spirit guides and then hear a song that has the answer to whatever you just talked about, is something that they are bringing up. But the eagle, in the shamanism that I was trained in, resides in the heart chakra. So there's definitely a balancing of the heart chakra that Spirit wants to bring up with the yin and yang energy, with the masculine and feminine. And it also feels like I'm hearing the word promise. So maybe, and it feels like they're also talking about age. So this is pretty specific, but it feels like I can't make this promise at my age anymore. That's what it feels like. So you could be concerned about meeting someone new, feeling like you don't want to have to consider marriage or something like that. Or it could be the opposite. Like, I'm too young to commit to just one person right now. I don't know if I want a partnership. And Spirit saying, no matter what end of the spectrum you're on that, overall, it's not that serious. It doesn't have to be a signed contract. So they're saying, you know, the relationship hasn't even started yet. Let's not worry about that just yet. So that's a sweet message from them. They're like, we've got this. Just don't worry about it. But I do see that you are a planner and you seem like a dreamer as well. And they're also saying, don't underestimate your manifestation power. So if you are manifesting a mate, just know that he's going to be here, is what they're saying. And they're just saying, make sure you really want what you're asking for and to not leave things out. And another tip they want me to bring up is just to add for the highest good of all on the end of your affirmations, on the end of your manifestations. That way it's not just like a to-do list for Spirit to check off. It's like, you know, working with the will of the universe and making more room for prayers to be answered and for miracles to be seen. So those are huge topics for group number 2 for the week ahead. So let's get a takeaway phrase from this special book. I don't know if I showed this for group number 1, but it's one of my favorite things I have ever. So let me grab a page without looking. So for group number 2, their takeaway phrase, share. Oh, that's so sweet. And I have to say, this is reminding me of some kind of like sensual energy. So I feel like you're in that for this following week, group number 2. And I feel like they're saying really embrace it and allow it to kind of radiate from you, because it can be like powerful. It can feel like you're lit up, like you're just a match on fire, but in like a smoldery kind of good way. So they're asking if, and you can just respond to this affirmatively or negatively, like right now, you have that energy about you. If you're willing to share it with other people and allow them to see it, Spirit would like to help you integrate that into your aura so people can just feel this kind of like, it's almost like you drink a chai latte. It's like that warm kind of fuzzy feeling. So people will feel that and go, ooh, I really like being around that person's energy. I don't know what it is. But Spirit's saying, we know what it is and we'd like to help you. So if you want to integrate that, just, you know, affirm to them, yes, that sounds like a great idea. I'd love to play with that and see what happens. Okay, group number 2 with the tortoiseshell glasses. Those were your messages for the week ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay, so for our group number 3, our final group here, with our trusty sage green glasses, let's see what your messages are for the week ahead. I just heard the word harvest for group number 2, which harvest time is always a great time, so maybe we have a ship coming in for you. Whoa. Let's see. They're talking about a process that's kind of been... Oh, you must have a good vocabulary, group number 3, because they said arduous. It's been an arduous process, and it's starting to spill over into other things. And they keep asking, when is this going to happen? When am I actually going to see a harvest? Let's see. It seems like they are going to answer that question here for you today. Okay. Let's see. We have the Queen of Swords, the Seven of Wands, and the 10 of Pentacles. Oh my God. This is like life-changing wealth. So they right off the bat are talking, and this is in the future position, so that makes sense. Wealth is on the way. Your investment is going to pay off. But right now it feels like this is the main energy. This Seven of Wands, it feels like you against other people. When you're in this position, it's not because you've done anything wrong, because this 7 comes right after the 6 of Wands, where we saw the girl, you know, like about to take a bow in front of a crowd. So this usually comes right after a big accomplishment. And people either want a piece or they're jealous and don't want to admit it. So you could just be feeling adversity or feeling kind of alone right now, like you have to fend for yourself. But you definitely have the upper hand, but I feel for you. This is a tiring energy to sustain. But they're saying it's all going to be worth it in the long run. This is going to change your family. This is like a legacy that you're building, and it's really important and tangible. They really want to stress that it's tangible. They're also showing you as you're like poised and ready to cut things out that don't serve you. This could also indicate a need to have a frank conversation. So maybe this adversity that you're feeling could manifest in a way that's like, not an altercation, but like a verbal confrontation with somebody, and you're forced to just go, listen, this is how it is, and this is how it's going to be. So I feel like you're really going to be laying the law down and telling someone how it is. Also with this energy with the Queen of Swords, when she starts to get tired, there can be a tendency to come off as harsh. So they just want you to be aware of that. So just keep that in mind. So this confrontation might take you by surprise, and they're just wanting to help you be prepared. Okay, so let's see what else Spirit wants to say about this. For group number 3, okay, this is so specific. So when I was in grad school, one of the physical exercises we had to do was Suzuki theater stomping. And it at first, when you don't know what you're doing, you're kind of throwing your body around and you're literally stomping on the ground, which just like kills your shins. And I remember my instructor, it became a joke because she would say, "Green Vista, Green Vista." It's like, you can't do this like Japanese art form with like this grimace on your face, like, ugh. So she was like, "Green Vista, Green Vista." So my spirit guides just said that to me. So you might be feeling like, oh, this sucks, I don't want to do this. Or you could just be feeling really overwhelmed. They're asking you to have a green vista, and also, maybe this will come up in the guidance card that we just pulled here, but I also heard poker face. So you may not want to show everyone your hand, the people around you, just to kind of look out for yourself for now. So let's see. Okay, we have tree people, sustenance. Okay, typically this would talk about what you eat, of course, like what you physically intake into your body, but it feels like this is sustenance, like I'm able to go to the grocery store and buy food. So again, they are reminding you this is going to pay off physically in a big way that will change what's possible for you, that you can sustain the lifestyle that you want, that you've always wanted, that your family has wanted. It feels like a heritage thing connected to the family tree and your roots. So it might have something to do with where you grew up or one of your parents or something. It could be that you're the first entrepreneur in your family and that other people really wanted to do that. So they're saying, oh, and also they're talking about a guide that's with you that you might see in the form of a bird. And so literally on the card, it's an owl, but it doesn't have to be, I'm hearing hawk and blue jay, or a bird that has a really sharp cry. So they're saying that that's a spirit guide that's with you, that's helping you through this and helping you. It's like you've already sown the seeds, you've grown the tree up, and now it's like you're about to get this harvest, but it still feels like you're swimming upstream. So let's see what other guidance that they have to offer. So we've confirmed the situation that they want to talk about. Acknowledging that there's a guide with you in the form of a bird that you might see, that you might hear. I feel like you might hear it at night, which is kind of odd. That's not typically when you would hear birds. Okay. So we have, here's what the feather looks like for this one. We have finch. New opportunities and choices are opening to you now. Claim them. And the second feather, they wanted 2, is the crane. You will soon enter a beneficial partnership. Luck and longevity bless this union. I'll be honest, I feel like this has to do with career. So this could just be signing a contract to work somewhere. Or you're going to meet a coworker or someone who does the same thing as you that really lights you up and helps you feel really supported. As far as the finch, they're not talking about what's actually written on the cards. They're like, no, this is different. The finch is about joy, and it's about the solar plexus center, the solar plexus chakra. And oh my gosh, look at this card. Her solar plexus is highlighted here as well. Okay, so this is about self-support, supporting yourself, affirming to yourself, I'm in the right place, I'm doing the right things, I'm on my way. I'm on my way to what I've always wanted. So Spirit's saying, we have your back, we're watching over you, watch for the bird, we're there. Make sure that if there is a verbal confrontation to not be too harsh, but it looks like you're not afraid to tell the truth, which they say is very admirable. But to remember that you are on your way, it may just take some self-affirmations, self-support, because when you're in this position, it doesn't really feel like people are with you or around you. They're like fighting you, which isn't necessarily the truth. It just can feel like that to be in that energy, which I can relate to. I've been there before. So let's see. It just feels like you're tired, group number 3. Let's get you a takeaway phrase from the Hands book. The Hands book. And see what would be most beneficial to know about the situation, because it feels like a lot. So for the week ahead, we have relax a little. Interesting. So this is making me feel like maybe there's a cocktail that you enjoy or some kind of special drink. It doesn't have to be alcoholic that you enjoy. But again, about that with the solar plexus and affirming to yourself, that self-love, they're also wanting you to practice those affirmations physically, because they're saying when you relax, when you give yourself time to just do nothing, you affirm to yourself, what I've done today is enough. It's enough. And I'm going to show that by allowing myself to do nothing. So that feels like a big thing for you. That might be a challenge for you if you're a really hard worker. But they're saying that is going to be a game changer for you. And don't take your eyes off the prize, because you have huge, huge success coming to you. Okay, so those were your messages for those of you who chose group number 3 with the green sage glasses. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Okay, so it looks like we've got some comments here. Okay. Miggy says, I'm here, fork in the road, holy shit, I need this. Yep, I can totally relate to that. Hey, Dawn, thank you for joining us. Lola says, today I actually verbally out loud said I was retiring at the end of the year. I was surprised that I said it while I've never done it. You must be a channeler then, if you said it before you did it. Ooh, I got a little goosebumpy there. What a great affirmation from Spirit that you're doing the right thing. Okay. I think both 1 and 3 for me. Yeah, that often happens for me, that I can be split between groups when I'm watching other readers. A lot of them, 1, 2, and 3. Is that possible? Thank you for awesome insight. Oh, thank you, Lola. Yeah, totally possible, especially if you feel compelled to stay and watch. That's often the reason why. They're often saying, hold on, there's another message for you at the very end. So thank you all so much for joining me here and sharing in the beautiful energy. I'm sending you so much love and light and wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Take care. Bye.